Slurpty-derp, my G's. So today I want to talk about naming your drum and bass track, or coming up with a good name for a D&B song. So realistically, the best piece of advice I can give you about coming up with a good name for a track is to have the name come out of the original concept that you're thinking about when you're making the specific track, because then it's going to be most fitting and most, also it's probably going to be unique if you've got a unique concept, of course, but also it's going to be most fitting to the actual sound of the song as well, in a sense. So let's take our G Sozen for an example, with his most recent release on the label Pop Belge, which if you haven't checked it out already, links will be up there somewhere or down below, wherever. But yeah, Sozen told us on the video podcast as well about his experience in Belgium, where he was in a cycling event and had accidentally had too much of a performance enhancing substance called Pop Belge, which obviously became the name of the song, and that's a very unique name, obviously. So yeah, when you really draw from personal experiences and things like that to try and tell a story in your music, not only will you get, in my opinion, like a better, more interesting kind of narrative for your song, but also it'll give you the opportunity to probably find a suitable name for it as well. However, let's say you haven't really got that kind of, crazy, in-depth, personal stories, concept going through into your track, which is obviously fine. A lot of us just make banger after banger, and sometimes it's great to just make a banger just for the sake of it, and then try and name it afterwards without like a whole concept that goes into it. Like, that is obviously going to happen sometimes too. So in that case, how can you come up with a cool name for it? Well, I think you have to be quite creative in picking a name, because it'll help the track stand out. And also, I think that, yeah, if you really, really want to have an interesting song name, you're going to have to try to find some kind of more complex words, or words that are not used so often. I mean, sometimes like having a classic like name for a track works fine, because really the actual track is going to make, it's going to make the name in a sense. It's not like the name of the song is really going to make the track. So the music, the importance of the music and the way the track sounds in general is obviously going to be more important, than the actual name. So never forget that. However, if you want to find some more useful or more unique words, then this is what I've done in my whole discography on all the songs that I've created. A lot of them have come from books, and I think the names would probably have been born from a concept where I was reading a particular book, and then I saw a term, or I heard read a particular word that I didn't know, and I thought, oh, that's a cool word, I've never really used that before, and that could be a good kind of name for a unique D&B track. Or I think I might have even occasionally at some point picked out a random book from the bookshelf, perhaps picked something almost maybe something more, maybe not highbrow, but some kind of more complex, not like a children's book, although maybe that could be a good idea. But yeah, picking a kind of more difficult going kind of style of book, where you're more likely to find some very, unique descriptive language. Flicking through some pages and trying to find a cool word. I mean, I think I've done that a couple of times before when I've been looking for track names. So one thing is definitely going through books. That is a great way, in my opinion, to try and find a good name for your track if you're struggling. Another thing that I've done loads as well is use a thesaurus. I think I've probably used a paper thesaurus at some point, but definitely an online thesaurus. If you've got a rough idea for a track, let's say a track just sounds like fire, it just sounds like an absolute fire tune. I mean, I would start with my synonym searching on the internet for the word fire, and then maybe blazing would come up or something, and then I'd maybe go down that rabbit hole. And probably around half of the tracks that I've named have often come from going down like long rabbit holes or in like an online thesaurus. So that's probably my number one way of finding track names, is just like keep going through the thesaurus and find another similar word that's like kind of what your concept is about, and like try and keep going again, and then you get like always the synonyms, of a word, and then sometimes there'll be like 20 or 30 synonyms, and then you'll often see a word that kind of just describes what you're trying to go for with your concept, but you won't necessarily have heard that word before, or it's like a really unique word that you don't often see around, like for a name for a D&B song or something like that. So that's probably my number one advice, to be honest with you. Like, if you've kind of got a concept but you're still struggling for the word, hit up your local thesaurus maker and give him a call and say what's up. And just go and look through some synonyms of words on the internet until you find something that kind of fits with your concept but also sounds unique. That's my most practical tip if you just want to find a cool name quickly. Use a little bit of the concept, think about what kind of words relate to that, look through some similar words on an online thesaurus, looking at the synonyms, and just keep going until you strike a word which is like different and unique but kind of relates to what you're going for. So that's probably my number one tip for today. Just a little video on things that I've done to think of names for a D&B track. But yeah, definitely read when you're reading as well. If you're reading good literature, you'll always stumble across words, and then you can just take a note on your phone or something sometimes if you need to write it down to remember it for a future song name. Or if you're just gonna name the song like at the end of it when it's done, then just flick through some books or something. Or but always try to start with the concept of the track in mind, and then the name will naturally be born out of that. In most cases, the track name will actually come directly from the actual concept that you're applying to begin with, and you'll have a better, more exciting song when you always put the concept at the priority of things. So concept first, then great music, and then the name should be born through that naturally, ideally. So hope that was helpful for you guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'll catch up with you guys soon. Peace out.